Okay, so this thing is finally here. Here it is, the exact same looking mouse except for the skates and the USB-C. Before I test any of the buttons, I kind of just want to unbox everything. So you have the plastic thing, the tray. You have the new Type-C dongle with the bigger 2K dongle. Same box. Has a rubber Type-C cable. Note that it doesn't have like the pins to clip in, so I think that's an improved design decision. Looks cleaner overall. I do think the Type-C port is a bit narrow. Hopefully it's compatible with other cables, but it doesn't look like it. And you still get the puck and the grip tapes. Looks like the dongle housing is also a bit altered. It doesn't like slide in, but it rather just fits in. Looks like they accommodated for the larger 2K dongle. So kind of just slides in like that. You can push it down to get it back out. Okay, the buttons. So there's a lot of controversy over the buttons, so let me just try those now. Scroll wheel feels fine. I always wasn't really a fan of the Superlight scroll wheel. It just felt a bit cheap and felt like it was going to break down over time, but I mean, they never really did. 3 years and no improvement on the side buttons is kind of disappointing. Considering how good competitors have done with the side buttons like Razer and Zowie and the main clicks. Okay, I can't lie, these sound these sound terrible. Like comically boxy. I don't know if the camera mic, I'm using the camera mic to do the click sounds and I don't know if it picks it up. There's this just like ridiculous like boxy reverberation that you can hear. Since I won't be using the mouse actually like this, let me just see how it feels on the pad. I don't know, I still feel that like boxy reverberation and yeah, a bit stiff, not too bad, but I'm definitely hoping these are going to break in over time. And my main gripe with the Superlight clicks is that the housing like dips in the middle and looks like they didn't fix that. So if you click near the middle, you'll see that the click like doesn't go down uniform, and they haven't fixed that at all. I have a relatively new copy of the Superlight here, the original, and you can see it much clearer. If you click near the middle, you get that dip, but you see the outside corners don't dip. For my old copy that I had since launch, that contributed a lot to the pretty bad feel of the clicks over time. Again here, it's harder to see because I got a black copy of the Superlight 2, but you can see like the corner doesn't dip with the side. The corner doesn't dip with the middle. I don't know, I already know from other reviews that basically the Superlight 2 performs pretty much just as good as the original Superlight, you know, obviously outside of the 2K polling rate. At this initial impression of just clicking it and knowing the performance is going to be basically the same, this is really concerning. The side buttons haven't been improved. The scroll wheel feels marginally better, I will say, in my opinion. I feel like a lot of the decisions Logitech has made is to appeal to the wider fan base. I should say wider user base, right? In my opinion, the reason why Logitech went with 2K instead of 4K or maybe even 8K is because they just want their user base to plug and play their mouse, right? And not have to care about anything. So if you make it 4K or 8K, you could have stutters, you could have a very poor battery life. So if you go to 2K, it's kind of like a safer middle ground, and the battery life shouldn't be that bad, right? Especially considering they went with a bigger battery on this copy than the original Superlight. So even at 2K, the battery life should be really good. If you have a casual user who just has a Superlight and then goes to the Superlight 2 on 4K and the battery life only lasts like 1 week, whereas this lasts like a month straight, it's kind of like a risk to go with that for your user base. But all at the same time, like, I don't know how these clicks pass any sort of testing. They just feel so boxy. I don't know. I feel like if I just asked 1,000 people of varying gaming experience which one feels better in terms of clicks, they would all say the original one does. I feel like FPS playing is going to be fine on this, even if you're tap firing, but it will be a bit uncomfortable. But I feel like if you had to play League of Legends on this mouse, you would be upset. Let's just say that. So I don't know. I feel like Logitech's whole goal was to have a smooth transition. So if you had a GPX, you could just get a GPX 2 and be fine. But again, like, how did the clicks go through? Like, this is not a smooth transition from these clicks, which feel great, to this. So it raises the whole question, because as far as initial testing is, you know, there might be firmware updates, the launch copies might be a bit different, but according to House, the click latency is almost the same, barely any difference at all. So it begs the question, like, why go with the opticals at all if they're just gonna make it harder to use the mouse? Again, this is just initial impressions. I literally just unboxed it in front of you, but I can already tell I probably won't like this one as much as the GPX. But I can already tell I probably won't like this as much as the original. Or the skates, the design did change. They feel exactly the same, the thin ones. These get a lot of flack. I honestly don't think they're that bad. Yeah, they sound scratchy, but I mean, they break in fine over time, just like any skates do. The only gripe with them is that they're a bit thin. So yeah, and the coating, I've heard it felt a bit chalkier, but I feel like the coating feels exactly the same. So yeah, those are my initial impressions. I don't know, it's not looking good. People complain that there wasn't enough change, but honestly, I don't think they should have changed. I think they should have changed less. Like, they should have kept these old Omrons in there if the click latency isn't even going to change. So let me end it with this. If I were Logitech, I would fix the side buttons, because these are ass and they're still ass. And you know, you have all types of people playing the game. I personally don't use side buttons in the game, but you know, there's different people, and especially in games like Fortnite or maybe League, you kind of need those side buttons. Second thing, I actually would have kept the Omrons. Like, there's no point. I don't see the point of these opticals if they don't give you a performance upgrade and they feel goddamn terrible. Now, someone's gonna say, oh, well, actually, the Omrons are gonna double click eventually. But yeah, but they didn't for so long for these, and so many copies in the hands of so many players, right? For the original G Pro Wireless, that was like the play, right? Like, everyone who has a G Pro Wireless, eventually you gotta get a new one because it's gonna double click. Well, they fixed it in the Superlight. And then in the Superlight 2, they just ditched it for a worse feeling optical click, which, yeah, it's gonna solve double clicking for good, but like, at what cost if these feel fucking terrible? The last thing I would do was just unlock 4K. I mean, everyone has it. Every competitor has 4K, right? So why not, right? I get, like, Logitech is not trying to not alienate their user base, but you could just hide it in the settings and like an overclock function, right? So if you're concerned about the battery life difference from the original Superlight to the next Superlight, you could have a setting in G-Hub or, you know, onboard memory manager that says like overclock warning. Like, this feature, 4K Hertz, is going to drain your battery. If you want to use it that badly, you must be aware that you're going to have to charge your mouse every so often, like every week. And I feel like that would have been fine, right? So just out the box, it should just be 1K, and then the overclock settings should be 2K and 4K. I'd say the only big dub for Logitech here is the dongle. You don't have to pay extra to get 2K at the very least. They should have unlocked 4K. No other mouse on the market, as far as I'm aware, comes with the high polling rate dongle in the box at no extra cost. So yeah, very confusing decisions here. That's what I would have done as Logitech.